Aamir Khan, you've worked with him before. People say he's a perfectionist, but every perfectionist also has these loopholes in them. I don't want to ask you what are the strengths of Aamir. I want to ask you, every actor goes through that method acting or probably very natural gifted to him. What is one thing about Aamir that you feel he should work more on?
Oh God, it's a tricky one. What Aamir should work more on? Uh, it's a. I really don't know what Aamir should work more on because he puts in so much of effort on everything he works. Like he was running Bhojpuri, he spent 4 months to learn Bhojpuri. Learn not the language, learn the dialogues. He would sit, which I have not seen any actor. He would sit with this coach Shanti Bhushan, and sit with he had a book, his diary, and Shanti Bhushan would read those lines in Bhojpuri, and he would write it phonetically. Ki Kanphuzia gaye. So he will not like C-O-N-F-U-S-E, Kanphuzia, C-O-N-P-H, Phuzia. He will write it how it will read. Every piece of dialogue, he will write it, then read it. So which he carried on the shoot. So for months he rehearsed from that book. So I have not seen anybody do that. His clothes. He said, यार मैं ऐसे नहीं पहनता हूँ, ये ड्रेस में बाहर के लोगों के कपड़े पहनता हूँ. So हमारी कॉस्ट्यूम टीम गई, सड़क पे जिसके कपड़े अच्छे लगते थे वो निकाल के, we wanted this funny clothes for him. So I think he's extremely committed, and I see every actor will bring his own strength into the film.
Right.
So when he comes in, he gets a lot of strength. So I really don't know how should I say ki.
Is it a wrong question to ask Hirani?
No,
I'll tell you what.
I'm not being polite. I'm like I'm telling you, he's short, and he uses that to his
advantage.
Like he's not conscious about the fact Anushka is taller than him. He says, and Anushka is taller than him, and he uses it to his this thing. वो दोनों साथ में करते हैं, dance करते हैं. He's no hang-ups about that.
Okay.
So for me to say ki what should have been better is very very difficult to say ki.
Okay. What was the best process in PK? Writing, direction, or editing?
See, PK was a difficult film to write. So writing, I went through many dark days where ideas won't come, or we would worry whether we were on the right path. We wrote for 1 year, and then a film like Inception came in, which was our idea.
Right.
And so we had to dunk that whole chunk and start rewriting. So writing was very tough on this. You won't believe, till last week we were still feeling, okay, that one voiceover can change, we can change that one line, and how many times we called Aamir to come and dub again. So we kept on doing those things. So shooting was fun. Shooting was fun in this film. But editing is a process which I invariably enjoy. Because,
okay, the most.
Because there are no dark days in that. There are no dealing with 500 people on the sets. That you sit alone in your room, lock the room, nobody comes, and you see a film emerging. So that's very meditative for me. 2-3 months I sit and do nothing but this. So that's
you've been an editor on many of the Vidhu Vinod Chopra movies.
No, I edited only one film, Mission Kashmir, for him.
Kashmir,
but I did promos for him.
Oh, okay.
That time I used to do advertising, film, edit for ad people. So I got called to do 1942 Love Story. That was my first interaction with Vinod. Then for Kareeb.
Correct.
Then Mission Kashmir called me to edit the film.
Oh, okay. The inception of PK, how did that happen? On the pot seat? While strolling in the garden? Having a fight at home? I don't know what. What was that inception? What was that trigger moment of yours?
See, this was immediately after 3 Idiots. 3 Idiots are not yet released, but we were mostly done with the work, and we were taking a walk at Borivali National Park, Abhijat and me. We actually used to choose different places every day to walk, because I strongly feel that if you are walking, something happens to your body and ideas come. The more you walk, more ideas come. So एक दिन हम निकल गए, हमने कहा ये film खत्म होगी, now let's take a walk. And so that was the day where we had 3-4 ideas,
right.
And then finally you have to zero down onto one idea and commit yourself to that idea, because then it's a journey of 1-2 years to write that. So that morning I remember we committed to this idea, which we had, but it was just a very basic one-line idea. So it was 2009, must have been December, September, right. Or October when we took that walk and committed ourselves to this idea.
That's awesome. But You know, when you write a movie and when you reach that point where, okay, you've decided the first draft is made, when it takes the process of 4-5 years, does it occur in your head as a creative person and share it with Abhijat, the writer, that I think now we started with 2009, it's 2014, you think this is a bit old considering it's new age? Does that happen? Does that thought occur in your mind?
I guess we've been fortunate that the kind of stories we've written are not really in the
Age.
they're more fables here. I call my stories a little more they're fabulesque in nature. Like if a Munna Bhai meets Mahatma Gandhi, it's not really got to do with the present times.
Right.
So it's more a fable. Munna Bhai goes into a medical school, it's still a. So when I look back at this, I don't think it really got affected with the time span in any way, except that some dates which are in the film, some event is happening in a film and you have to give it a date, a year. So those things will have to change. But the world, I don't think the world changed enough for us to change our story.
What was your most embarrassing moment? A question to begin with is, what's the most embarrassing moment you have faced on the sets
On the sets,
while shooting any film of yours?
once I did something which no director actually should do. Is I was shooting and I wanted an actor to be emotional and crying,
Right.
and somehow when the shots were happening, it wasn't happening.
Okay.
So I kept on taking it wasn't happening. So I started from behind the camera, started almost like crying and speaking like that. I started giving the cues myself and I would do all that, crying in this thing. When I was thinking by my doing this, I'm making the other actor
More comfortable.
emotional.
Okay, emotional.
But that was the biggest mistake because I was so engrossed. Light was going, the take wasn't happening. I kept on doing that. Till at one point I paused and looked around and the whole unit was standing there and laughing at me. I said, yaar, main kya kar raha tha? Because you cannot make somebody emotional by just sitting and giving those kind of cues. You
Right.
have to do it in a different way. So that was one embarrassing moment.
That was an embarrassing moment. And never do this, as Raju sir said.